Myanmar is the second largest country in Southeast Asia and has an ethnically diverse population of approximately 51.5 million, and the rural areas make up 70% of the population. Over half a century of violent conflict in the Mon state, especially the armed conflict, has resulted in social devastation and hindered many aspects of social and economic development. Natural disasters and internal conflict have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. The government intends to nurture and prioritize inclusive growth and job creation across the country, including in conflict-affected areas at the high importance of the Myanmar Sustainable Development Plan 2018 to 2030. The Nationwide Ceasefire Agreement, or the NCA, has been signed by 10 ethnic armed groups, including the New Mon State Party, NMSP, in 2018. Since January 2018, the ILO, from its own internal funding, implemented a 2-year project. The project is part of the ILO Global Flagship Program on Jobs for Peace and Resilience. The aim is to create job opportunities in conflict-affected ethnic communities, especially for youth and women. The Biri Area Project in Ye Township achieved this aim through the construction of community-based necessary rural infrastructure and also providing skills development training and raising awareness on social services and social cohesion. There were nearly 6,000 conflict-affected people, where 51% were women from 11 IDP villages in Biri target areas. In this project, the ILO partnered with the Biri Project Working Group, village development committees, community constructors, and community members. The project has successfully demonstrated how structures such as school buildings, health centers, gravity-led drinking water supplies, and footbridges could be cost-effectively built and maintained using the ILO model, the local resource-based approach. This project gave a strong focus on youth and women as project participating members as well as beneficiaries. The project openly guarantees fair and timely payment to workers and constructors, maintains gender equality as well as equal pay for work of equal value to men and women workers. The practice and approach of community consultation for arriving at decisions on overall planning, use of locally available labor, how to prepare and improve skills, how and when technology could be used, choices of materials, and appropriate work methods have proven to be effective and economically viable. These practices and approaches are once again proven to be appropriate in conflict-affected areas where a ceasefire is in place. Local community members are willing to test ceasefire if it is real, with the view to gradually enlarge such space over a period of time, if at all possible. The recovery initiatives that led to the generation of employment in effect directly helps restore confidence on the part of the people to demand peace and ceasefires permanently. The 10-year-old boy studying in grade 3, whose parents went to work from the water-scarce area, normally fetches water from the river 3 to 4 times a day for the house and toilet use. A couple of old women and men who live at the edge of the village have problems with collecting water because their house is far from the river. I have to walk about half an hour to go to the river, and normally 6 times a day. Even though we have a water distribution system in the village, we cannot afford it every month. There is a water distribution system in the village, but we have to pay for it by use. We have to pay 1,000 kyat for 1 unit, which contains 150 gallons. We need up to 4 to 5 units and have to buy about 5 units a month. In the past, we had to hire people to carry water from the river. We carry water with a motorbike and pay 100 kyats for a 6-gallon jug. Our village organized a private water supply system and asked 1,000 kyats for 1 unit. The owner takes 30,000 kyats to set up the pipes into the house for each household. Once the students reach grade 1 or 2, the parents begin to call them to work on the rubber plantations and the farm, so the students have dropped out of school. From KG to grade 4, if we have 20 to 30 students, only about 5 to 6 students will make it to grade 4. Roughly 10% make it to grade 4. In our old clinic, there are no specific rooms for waiting, resting, dining, and patient treatment areas. The nurses also live in the same clinic room, so the clinic is not quite sanitary. Sometimes when the patients come, they must be cured publicly in the clinic. We face difficulties with our clinic because it is narrow and unclean. The project provided technical assistance to support communities to build basic community infrastructure decided as a priority by the communities. That benefits the whole community, not just the most influential members, in an inclusive, participatory process. The project implemented through the local resource-based LRB approach maximized the use of locally available resources. The approach supported communities to undertake these projects themselves, therefore building the capacity to make financial and management decisions. To enable community engagement and ownership, the project facilitated communities to form democratically elected Village Development Committee, VDCs, in which women will be given equal opportunity to represent in key positions to oversee the projects. After wider community consultation, community meetings selected the community constructor who has to be from the same village area. Once projects were identified, community constructors acted in effective management and led the execution of the infrastructure projects and maintained the built assets. The workers were provided with equal opportunities and the same pay. Men and women were recruited by public announcement of the works by the VDC and by informing villagers well in advance about employment. Employment was offered to the poorest and most vulnerable households, otherwise dependent on unreliable casual labor, thereby providing critical support in meeting basic household needs. Upgrading of skills and providing on-the-job training to semi-skilled workers were part of the employment generation approach. We also ensured that the community constructors adhere to targeting criteria, so the labor days were offered first to the poorest households. The project staff provided assistance to undertake public hearing meetings at the beginning and halfway points, and social audit at the end of the construction work. Open public discussion about plans and progress among all stakeholders supported participation, reduced grievances, and enhanced transparency and accountability to the community. After the contract signed with the ILO, we undertook the selection of staff for the implementation of the project. The project steering committee had developed the job descriptions before the contract signed and then selected the right persons for the positions. The village development committees had established at the outset of the project, and the committees accomplished their responsibility adequately. When the project implemented, the local people had the opportunity to work and earn income. Also, all the decisions were made by communities. Therefore, communities are taking their responsibility and ownership of the constructed infrastructure. Many villagers have more confidence in the ceasefire when they got the opportunity to develop their villages as desired. We are more confident to carry out development work by engaging local people from the village. It is established that there had been no disturbance from any sides when we implemented the construction of the community infrastructure. We had an adequate discussion and sound understanding between the village administrative body and villagers throughout the implementation of the project. This project also helped members of several communities to come together. There is a division between gender and sex. Sex is based on biology, therefore it's unchanged, whereas gender is based on one's mindset as well as cultural influence. It can be changed based on behavior. I understood the difference between gender-based violence and other acts of violence, like domestic violence between husband and wife, physical violence to children, bullying by adults, and unequal pay wages between men and women. I will stand and help the victims to report their cases and can explain the certain rights that women and men have. I am a skilled worker in constructing the training center, and I joined the Mason training organized by the ILO. I learned the proper techniques to construct a building, and those skills are really helpful for me when re-implemented in construction work. We recruited the women workers that matched their skill in the constructed building and paid women equal wages as men regularly. They paid me 7,000 Myanmar Jet per day. It was a convenient job for me because it was inside the village and easy to get to the workplace. I worked in those days when my children went to school. My daily incomes were mostly spent on home expenses for the same day. I have to work every day to cover the family daily expenses. I will work on the construction site as long as they offer a job. The participants actively participated in the Youth and Drugs Talk. They traveled a long way to attend the talk workshop, and I believe youth will now participate more in development activities. They will exclude me from the group if I don't take drugs with my friends. This is what happens in our community. Now I gain more knowledge about the danger of drugs from the speakers and will apply it to educate youth groups on drug abuse issues in my community. Before I attended the agriculture training, I was working on the farmland and normally used chemical fertilizer for growing. We have started making natural fertilizer and applied it for our new growing vegetable garden after a few weeks of the training. We will help anyone who invites us to share and teach the knowledge of making natural fertilizers. Also, we will offer sample fertilizers if others ask for it. The main benefits are to cover our basic home expenses by selling the surplus to the community to earn some income. We have the plan to extend our growing on another half-acre size of land in the future. We can earn up to 20,000 to 30,000 Myanmar Jet per day if we grow on a half-acre size of land. We can receive an average 500,000 Jet monthly and about 4.5 million Jets yearly by continuously growing throughout the year. The project undertook 43 trainings and workshops, which included skill-based training courses and awareness-raising workshops and talks. A total of 1,717 attendees participated, of which 77% were youth and 58.5% were women participants. The skill-based training courses included mason training, agriculture-based training, soap making, bamboo craft, and sewing training courses. The awareness workshops were gender-based violence, community development and leadership, federalism and democracy, peace process, human rights, sanitation and hygiene, drugs abuse talks, as well as youth exchange trips and a mother and child refresher program are provided to community members, including students and teachers who benefited from the rural infrastructure of the project, such as rural health centers, schools, early child development centers, gravity drinking water supplies, bridges, and school furniture. A total of over 40% women as well as youth worked in the construction of the mentioned rural infrastructure work. To achieve the mentioned outputs, the Project Steering Committee was established at the beginning of the project to plan and manage project deliveries and guided the Project Implementation Team, PIT, on executing activities in the entire project. The Project Implementation Team was assigned full-time staff for the implementation of the project. The ILO has provided technical assistance to the Project Steering Committee and the Project Implementation Team throughout the project on conflict-sensitive approaches to project management. The old clinic was tiny and had no water source nearby. We had to go to the river to fetch water and take baths. I am happy we have a new wider space clinic and reliable water supply now. The whole village members as well as I are feeling very fortunate. Mostly, we have to carry water from the river during the summer and winter seasons. Also, we were forced to use muddy, filthy water during the rainy season. It was difficult to arrange clean drinking water. Now we did not have to collect water from the river. We can receive water next to our home. We don't have to pay a hefty fee to install water connection and for the uses of water. I am happy and thank you for supporting us. We had no good road or bridge and had to swim to reach the other side of the village. It was risky to go to school, clinic, and monastery earlier. As the ILO supported us with the footbridge, it is convenient for children to go to school and villagers to visit clinic and market to sell local products. We are very happy and satisfied now. I have gained knowledge from the skills workers training and have applied it in practice to construct the clinic building. My 2 sons and I had worked on the project for nearly 4 months and earned almost 3 million jets. I have the plan to engage in the construction and maintenance of the community buildings to use the skills which I expanded from working in this project. I plan to open a shop selling windows and doors. I will need about 20 to 30 million jets for the investment for that business. With the money we earned, we plan to invest on a plot of land, our children's education, and some amount for business. Before I worked in this project, I have served as a chairperson of the women organization. I underwent the construction technique training and learned the project management during training organized by the ILO. As a contractor, I profited 895,000 Myanmar jets when the construction work completed by mid-December of 2019. In our old school, we had a lot of difficulties, such as students got wet and the heavy wind blew frequently during the rainy season. We had to worry about students getting accidents constantly. Now we have a new school, and it is more secure with good and robust windows. Don't have to worry about the students. Thank you for the schools which we need most. I live alone at home. It is difficult to collect water. I am very happy that we have our own water supply now. I can take shower and get water easily for my uses.